Hey Katie, about to get started for you. We've got Miss Renergy here again today. So let's get into it and see what we can find. Okay. Oops. Right. Oh, it didn't work for you today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Must have pulled a cord somewhere. Okay. Okay, Katie. Is there any reason why the higher self, unconscious, subconscious, conscious won't allow us in? Okay. Where do we need to start today? Okay, we need to start going in through the chakras. Throat chakra to start with, so I'll put in the coordinates for that. There's a combo with throat chakra, parietals and hyoid, and it's all about stuck communication, inhibited communication, where there's hesitant communication, so where communication has been a real challenge in the past. So popping in throat chakra, hyoid and parietals. And I've just done your bioresonance and sent them through as well. Bit of a different one to one I did last time, I think. Okay, now second stage stress. So you're fighting really hard to use communication, but there's something old and blocked in there. Okay, so do we need a flower essence or a flower essence hologram? The hologram, okay. So what's the first coordinate? Central, so that's conscious brain energy. And liver. Liver is internalized rage, anger, frustration. So a combination of those. But yeah, so with the central meridian, it's the feminine energy that feeds our conscious brain pathways. So that's being blocked. Okay. Is this your conscious, subconscious, unconscious? Conscious, subconscious, unconscious. So your unconscious brain, okay, is this for other people or for yourself? Other people, yourself. Okay, so there's something fairly big going on because it's like your brain has got vengeance for yourself and remorselessness. Remorselessness for yourself. So it's like your brain has considered that you've done something so horrendous that your brain is still angry with yourself in a really big way. Right, crabapple is the flower essence. Now, thinking about the nervous system, because of all that nerve pain you're in, the nerves are telling us that something's wrong. If we don't have nerve pain, we really don't feel our body. It doesn't matter where the pain is in our body. It's the nerves that give our messages to our brain. But there's been a lot of studies done with the nervous system that find that it's the brain that tells the body to let it know about the energy. So I'll get started with the balance, but then I'll tell you two stories about pain and how neuropathy can sort of manifest in different ways. But crabapple is about really disliking something about our physical body. It's very much about the physical body, but it's about manifestation in the physical body when something's going on internally. So let's have a look. Yeah, okay. So this is about discouragement and shame of mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual weakness. Is this current? Is this old? So this is old. It's not showing up self-disgust, but there's a lot of big stuff. So your brain isn't forgiving you for what you're going through with your physical body as well. So, it's like you're just flogging a dead horse in there. Your poor little body's in pain anyway, and then your unconscious brain is picking on yourself for being in physical pain and not being able to get past it.
Sounds like a battle.
It is a battle. It is a battle. Okay, which levels do we need? Okay, we need to transcend and dissolve this energy. Central. Throat chakra. Not the liver meridian. The liver organ. Okay, we can do that. So we need to wake up the energy that's locked in here. I take responsibility for my attitudes and now choose to kindly, gently, lovingly, and supportively transcend my discouragement and my shame of my mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual weaknesses into all-encompassing love. I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly, and supportively accept my body and its processes. I understand that cleansing is a necessary stage in the cycle of becoming clearer and more expanded in consciousness. I take responsibility for my attitudes and now choose to kindly, gently, lovingly, and supportively dissolve my discouragement and my shame of my mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual weaknesses into all-encompassing love. I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly, and supportively accept my body and its processes. I understand that cleansing is a necessary stage in the cycle of becoming clearer and more expanded in consciousness. Because I've also always thought with nerve pain, the nerves, when we lose the myelin sheath and we're not getting the protection from that the myelin sheath gives us, it's nearly always, like 99.999 times out of 100, it's some sort of toxin. Now that can be neurological stuff, it can be environmental stuff, but emotions that raise our cortisol levels can also be damaging to our myelin sheath on our nerves and make it more likely, when we're getting that really harsh nervous system pain. Actually, if you not sure what supplements are available in Ireland, there's a whole bunch of things not available, but there's an ingredient in supplements called PEA. I don't know whether you've seen them. So here in Australia, the ingredient is palmitol. So I'll send, so basically supplements that have PEA. It's in the cannabinoid family, and it can be really powerful for nerve pain. So this one is a combination of PEA and saffron. Once again, not sure if that's available for you but it may be something you might be able to get in homeopathic form if you, oh that's right, homeopathics are illegal in Ireland. It's all crazy, isn't it? Anyway,
I wonder if
crazy times.
to see her over there from Ireland.
Yes, I sent some details. I haven't muscle tested up how much or anything, but yes, it's on the list. One day we'll have to have a quick chat on Messenger and sort of chat your supplements, Caity. Okay, so that little level is showing up okay now. Let's have a look. Go back to that throat chakra, which was overworking to keep you strong enough to speak your truth, communicate with love, communicate to yourself with love too. Yeah, We might, I think I'm going to put a few little things in the nervous system that are messing with the immune system. So I'm going to use a couple of immune system points and just sort of throw in a few things that we know could be going on. In the clear, hold, 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 hold. Okay, stress and stress hormones. Stress and stress hormones. And hold, 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 hold. In relation to acceptance of self. Hold, 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 hold. There's an energy mismatch to acceptance of self. I was listening, funnily enough, to Tucker Carlson this morning, and he made a comment about truth and lies. And he made the comment that when we are in our truth, it makes our energy bigger, it makes us fearless, it makes us empowered. Whereas lies and fibbing and that sort of thing, it shrinks our energy and makes us fearful and angry. And when we have something going on physically in our body that we feel does not serve us, it can make us feel frustrated with our body. You know, so that flower essence, crabapple, which is a Bach flower essence, it's for when that physical body is not serving us. It's like, come on, little body, what are we doing here? So, but I think, so I had a point there, sorry. So when our body, so basically there's a mismatch, there's an energy mismatch to your own nervous system issues at the moment. There's an energy mismatch to that. So your nervous system isn't accepting it or believing it or understanding it, or there's something about it where there's a mismatch. It's sort of like you're going, but I'm doing all of this, I should be really good, but this is going on and it's really pissing you off. So it's sort of like we need that acceptance of self, so that once again you can hit that, okay, this is where I am, let's move forward. And I was thinking with loss is one of the biggest things that creates autoimmunity in the body. So it's sort of worse than environmental toxins, it's worse than smoking. It's, you know, from that emotional perspective, loss is one of the worst that activates autoimmunity. And you can imagine with this sort of level of nervous system pain, there's probably an autoimmune component to it. I, bet my life on it. So we need to make sure that every day we're adding gratitude into the day. We're adding forgiveness into the day of ourselves and others, and both of them. You know, being grateful for the things that you are doing really well. Being grateful for the things that you're managing to do even with this level of pain. You know, you've got a little family there you've got to look after, and you're the mama bear, you've got to be able to do that. So yeah, keeping that gratitude and forgiveness, in your day. And with the hormones that we release at night time, we don't just release serotonin and melatonin overnight, but we also release anti-inflammatory hormones and detoxification hormones and things. So when we're not sleeping well, and one of the things that stops that more than anything is emotional gear. So doing some sort of level of whatever, gratitude or forgiveness or something before bed can be a really good idea to sort of calm the nervous system down, so that we sleep well and get into that really healing deep sleep. Let me also check, since there was an energy mismatch, I'm going to also check the fascia latas on each side. Hold up for me, beautiful. And hold up for me, beautiful. And I'll get you to say, I am 100% Caity.
I am 100% Caity.
And hold up for me. Okay. And hold up for me. Right. So this is a trick from NOT. That once again, it's another way of saying to your hormonal system, what do I think about being me? Because this one relates to the large bowel. If it unlocks in relation to our own name, then it's a bit of a sign that there's something that we're not digesting in our life, if you sort of think of it like that. Because everything about hormones is metabolized through the small intestine, metabolized through the liver. So if that's not happening properly, then it weakens the large intestine energy, going through there. And our large intestines is about grief, guilt, regret. So I am 100% Caity. Can you just say that again?
I am 100% Caity.
And again, hold. Beautiful. And hold. Lovely. Yeah, there's some lymph. Actually, I might quickly massage a little bit into that abdominal area. Renergy actually does Chini Seng, the abdominal massage, much more than me. I'm more stack it in with kinesiology. That's my super skill.
My second just popped in.
Oh, nice. Oh, do you want to do that under your knees?
What's that?
Do you want to bolster under your knees?
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, right, okay. Okay, so with the abdomen, there's some lymphatic congestion going on. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to get you to hold those. So 1 there and 2 there. So just going to hold some little points down here to get the energy traveling through the kidney meridian, which is to do with fear and anxiety. Gallbladder meridian, which is externalized rage, anger, frustration. And bladder. And bladder's externalized fear, threat, danger. They're pulsing nicely. Something down. So it's the bottom left quadrant of your intestines. So I'll just stack that in. Ouchie's ouchie. Okay. So there's some emotions showing up in the large intestine, so we'll stack that in. Okay. So the body wants a release, but it's all jammed. It's linked in with old self-worth, so it's linked in with old self-worth issues. Yeah, right, and working really hard to be indifferent about things but can't. So it's the stuff that we think we've put aside that we just don't give a toss about, but inside it's just eating away at us. And it's probably because there's a physical reminder of, trauma or abuse in your body. Yeah, once again, letting go. Okay, here's a big one. Toxic shame. So there's something that's still locked in your body's tissues that some part of you either can't believe it happened, can't believe you're not over it, can't believe that you put up with it. So there's some part of yourself, because shame, of course, is about what other people put on us. Blame is a bit different to shame. Shame is when we take on something that someone else has thrown at it. It's like they've thrown all the mud and dirt, and it's just stuck. So when it becomes toxic shame, it's going to be infecting those cells on a daily basis with stress hormones. It's locked into the large intestine, that lower quadrant, more so than the rest of it. So we'll run some survival patterns in relation to this. I'm just trying to wake up the area. Actually, I might just use the massager for a sec. Thanks. Sure, thank you. Okay, and hold. Yeah, okay. So there goes your adrenals in relation to this. Yeah, and they're more in that third stage stress rather than second or first, so they're exhausted. So your adrenals, it's that whole adrenaline tappers on, but it's just nothing left. Hold, that one's okay. Hold, that one's okay. Hold, okay. So a hidden deep survival pattern. Actually, before we do that, I'll stack in all the fascia of the legs as well. Okay, I'll make sure. Survival, that's okay. And deep survival. Okay, so it didn't add any layers of survival stuff adding in the leg fascia. That's okay. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Just depends on what's stored in there. Okay, so in relation, so this is sort of like your brain picking on yourself for not being perfectly over this yet. So it's the anterior cingulate gyrus, and it is that part of the brain that picks on you when you're not perfect under stress. So, or it picks on you when you're not perfect when you're under pain. So it just wants us to be perfect all the time. So, 21, 27. And hold out. And hold up. So the anterior cingulate gyrus. Yeah, in relation to the nerve pain, I don't know whether you've heard the stories about how the brain can create or deny pain depending on belief systems of the brain at the time. So there, and I'm not saying your pain is not real, I'm just saying how much the brain has some control over it, which is why we're empowered by things like meditation and prayer and belief systems and nature and, you know, all the good stuff that we do. So there were two stories simultaneously that we were told in a lecture last year. One of them was a guy that was on a building site by himself, and he had a nail go through his foot maybe it was through his hand actually, and it went the whole way through the palm of the hand sideways. It was a big long nail, and he was on his own, so he managed to drive himself to the hospital. And it wasn't until he got to the hospital, when he was being taken care of by the nurses and doctors, that was the moment that the pain turned into a 10 out of 10. He was actually fine getting there with the adrenaline and the rushing and everything until that moment when he didn't have to be 100% switched on, and that's when the pain kicked in. So until then, he had not been feeling the pain. Second story is a guy from Canada who jumped off a building site. Workers everywhere. A big long nail went through his huge worker boots, and he was in a 10 out of 10 in pain instantly. And by the time they got him to the hospital, so he had to be driven, they got him on a morphine drip, he was in so much pain, and then the nail had missed his foot. It actually went through the toes, did not touch the toes, did not touch the foot, but he was in 10 out of 10 in pain. And it took him some time to convince him that, hey, there's nothing going on there, because he had felt 10 out of 10 in pain.
Through shock. Maybe.
Well, yeah. Well, it's the power of the brain. You know, our brain creates what we believe. So it's one of those things. But the point of this, Caity, is that the guy who has been researching this, I can't even remember his name, but some cool researcher that was at a conference I was at last year. He was basically saying that what he does, because he was some really high up doctor, blah, 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 and ended up getting to the spot where he's thinking, I'm not fixing these people. Drugs don't do it. They need to learn to meditate. They need to learn to visualize. They need to learn to imagine their body without pain. So we can start to shift things around. Anyway, just a thought. But two cool stories.
Too cool. And just to even normalize it as well.
Yeah.
You know?
But once again, it's not undermining the pain you're in, because regardless of the cause of it, the pain is real. Like for guy number 2 with the toes and the foot where the nail had missed it, it was still real pain. He was imagining it, but it was still real. His brain created the pain to match his belief system. Yeah, this year the conference is on all things women, so that's, well, yeah, it should be good fun. So that one was the reticular activating system, and the RAS is, there's another circuit in there. So the RAS is that little part of the brain that controls what hormones your body's releasing when something new is happening in your world. And once again, when our health hasn't been awesome, sometimes our brain can pick on our body. So this is expecting long-term stress, so noradrenaline, and it's creating a focus. So your brain just wants to focus all the time on your nervous system and your body to make sure it doesn't miss a new trauma coming along. So it creates that vigilance in the nervous system, but this is the vigilance point. This one's about directing attention, but the outcome is the same. It's still the body wanting to keep an eye on every single little system in your body to make sure you don't miss a new symptom or a new pain or a new something or other. Okay. So now we're going to go into the sympathetic nervous system, which of course, when it's active, it switches off our rest, switches off our digest, So it just keeps us in that heightened state, fight, flight, freeze. And we'll see which organs are connected in here. Okay, so the first one showing up is it's messing with the pericardium meridian, which is to do with circulation of the reproductive organs. And hold out for me. Hold out for me. And of course, that's the glute medius. It's a support muscle for the sides of the hips. I'll also check the glute maximus and hold, leg straight. That's it. And hold up. Okay. And hold up. Yeah, and anything that messes with the pelvic floor muscles is not going to be helping nerve supply down the legs. And hold. Hold. I communicate with love. I communicate with myself with love. I choose to walk in the world with love, ease and grace. And hold out. Oh, I wondered whether they would believe that. Hold. Just because that's all to do with the reproductive area, which is the seed of our creating the world we want. Hold up for me. Hold up for me. Okay. So, yeah, so part of that communication thing that we were chatting about on Facebook, you were spot on. I communicate with love. I show kindness and love to myself always. And again, hold out, beautiful. Hold. 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 Lovely. Small intestines. Okay, so quadriceps is a muscle for the small intestine. I'll see whether I need to do the abdominals as well. I'll ask the body. Okay, hold up for me. But we make a huge amount of hormones in the small intestines. 90% of our immune system is in the small intestines. We make a lot of serotonin and melatonin in the small intestines. So there's a huge amount of stuff that goes on in there. But also if the immune system isn't working well in the small intestine, we end up building up toxicity through the body. So in relation to any and all pain and inflammatory hormones. And hold. Pain and inflammatory hormones. Punishment circuitry, and hold, pain and inflammation hormones, and hold, beautiful. I need to do the abdominal muscles, not at this point, okay. Liver, okay. Not too bad. Sort of stuff like generally feeling a little distressed, a bit of resentment, and some vulnerability, you know, so the liver is internalizing some frustration and anger. Yeah, a bit of yourself and other people. Okay, hold, I'm going backwards. Beautiful. Hold up, I'm going down. Okay, so that second one over there is liver not coping with hormones. Okay, hold. Hold up for me. And the second one there is liver not coping with stress hormones, specifically creating clotting factors in the bloodstream. Because obviously if you're stressed, the tiger's going to pounce. So we need to be able to clot quickly. Isn't it funny, the more I've learnt about finger modes and, you know, of elite organisations and things like that the last few years, the more I understand weird, you know, sort of people going, oh my God, is she doing a blah blah finger mode? And I've gone, oh man. No, just generally, you know, because of the stuff I do with kinesiology with my fingers. And over the years, many people have sort of said, oh, she's doing this with her fingers. And I always thought, what are they saying I'm doing? I don't understand.
Is it how they communicate?
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Interesting.
There's lots of power in lots of finger modes. You know, like, for example, the old Freemasons handshake and things like that. Yes. The more you find out stuff, the more you see it. Okay. So, liver. Second one here. Hold. Beautiful. And hold on. Okay. In relation to communication. Self-love, self-worth. Being able to communicate with love. Being able to communicate with ease and grace. Just make sure that doesn't mess with your liver. Hold, beautiful. Hold up. Hold. Hold up. Lovely. Okay, kidneys is showing up. So kidneys is the three muscles either side of the pelvis that sort of help to hold our pelvis in place. My chiropractor, he always talks about the fact that we should never lock our knees backwards. You know, we should always have like a little bit of a bounce in our knee. In fact, he says that if we can't run at a microsecond's notice, we're locking our knees back. So if we're locking our knees back and you can't run, you're pretty useless on the planet where there's tigers and lions and bears. So, you know, we need to keep the knees nice and just that slight touch in our knees, and then that helps to just twist or tilt the pelvis, you know, so that we've got less of a sway in the back. Because quite often when we've got that big sway in the back, we're twisting a whole bunch of those lower vertebrae, which can be impinging on the nerves going down the body as well. So check your posture, and when you're in chronic pain, it's really easy to get into positions that are not serving you as well. Okay, so let's see how many of these kidney muscles are showing up. Okay, hold up for me. That one's okay. And hold up. Okay, so this is the right side. That one's the psoas. Hold up. And the iliacus. So you've got 1 out of 3 working on the right, or that are working at over 50%. Hold up for me. That's the pectineus. Hold up. And hold up. Yeah, right, the left side's all locking. So we've got 4 out of 6 working, so that's not so bad. But the kidneys is very much about fear, threat, danger. Okay, so what I might do is just ask in relation to any and all past abuse. Any and all past abuse. And hold up for me. Oh, there goes pectineus. and hold, and hold. So now it's 3 on the right, hold. Yeah, okay, there goes the pectineus on the left, there goes the psoas on the left, there goes the iliacus on the left. Not as bad, but you know, it just wasn't locking. So there is still the residue of past abuse locked into that kidney energy. And you can imagine, because the meridian runs from here to here, it runs straight up the midsection. When we're working on that vigilance point before with the anterior cingulate gyrus, that's actually kidney points, but they're above the body for some reason. That's just how I learned it a million years ago, so that's what I do. So now we'll also check. Let us ask the body, just out of curiosity, I want to add love, compassion, forgiveness, and gratitude. And hold, 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 hold. Oh, now that's interesting. I've never done that before. That was cool. So yeah, you know, if we start getting the positives in there, it's going to have that positive change on there. Okay. Nonetheless, let's shimmy once again. Now I won't say I was going to say minus the positives, but we'll just correct it and bring it up. I had a question last night. What do you think about this one, Renergy? I had someone contact me. They've got a friend who is in a world of pain. I'm not sure what sort. But because we use surrogacy, she was wondering whether you could surrogate yourself for the other person just to give them a break from their own energy and their own body.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like courage.
Yeah, I've never, but okay, the thought I am now having, because last night I thought, well, I've never been asked that before, so I haven't thought about it. And in this moment, I'm thinking we're not taking their energy away from them.
No, we're kind of giving them a break.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
It sounds beautiful, though. I like to offer that.
Yeah, and maybe even just being able to give some, you know, some love, gratitude, you know, to their body, rather than trying to take their energy away. If we were to more give them some healing energy, it might be the better way of going.
With consent or not?
Well, I'm sure no one would say, surely people wouldn't say no to love, gratitude.
Right.
In theory. There's some grumpy old buggers out there. Yeah, but what an interesting question.
Need more feelings, just to give without, you know.
Yeah. In relation to any and all past abuse. Any and all past abuse. Yeah, well, she also made the comment that because there's such trauma going on the planet at the moment, there's so many groups that are connecting, where it's people like us who are getting together in big groups and just sharing love to the world, you know, in the form of everything, you know, Reiki and kinesiology and prayer and touch. Absolutely. So there's a lot of healing energy going on out there.
It's so powerful, even just that willingness to give.
Yeah.
Actually seeing a lot of past therapists nowadays coming back into the healing and the treating space.
Yeah, nice.
Being guided back to it after, you know, maybe a change of career path or something.
Yeah. I think people are drawn to it because it feeds their soul, you know, regularly, whereas so many jobs don't. One of my friends who's very woo-woo, so she seems to be able to see both someone's beautiful soul. I don't know whether she reads auras or chakras or something, but she's done a whole bunch of shaman training in South America. And she was somewhere the other day and she was saying just the amount of people who just their soul wasn't showing. And she said, like, it was like their eyes were, you know.
But they were there for a reason. Were they learning?
No. She was just somewhere where she just noticed that the bulk of people just didn't seem to have a happy soul or a vibrant soul. There's a lot of real unhappiness. And two other weird statistics I heard this morning. One of them was that for the first time in history, we've got more women at 30 years old without children than with. So there's always been more women by the age of 30 with children. Like, that's just been in the history of, well, certainly since statistics. Whereas for the first time ever this year, we've actually hit 51% of women at 30 without children, which is obviously a sign of declining population and lack of that mothering instinct or something. There's something, that we're changing there. And the other one was that more men than ever before, and this are choosing not to be in a relationship with anyone. Like, the statistics are getting bigger and bigger where men just are going, I'm out of here. I'm not choosing to be in a relationship.
Sad.
It is sad. I think it's sad. And I know there's people out there who are choosing not to be in a relationship, which is often, because of career or because of circumstances or because of their children or because of, money or whatever. But the fact that people aren't willing to give it a go these days, more and more, is just to me, it's a real sign of the collapse of
Reproduction.
Yeah, well, yes, collapse of reproduction.
We need to get fertility back out there.
We do. Okay. Any and all past trauma and abuse. 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 Okay, so base chakra is now showing up. So the combo with the base chakra is base coccyx sphenoid. Obviously it's about survival, feeling grounded, feeling safe. And it's to do with the kidneys, the spine, and the adrenals. So sphenoid coccyx, yeah. So base. Adrenals. Just stuck in the coccyx. And the sphenoid. And hold. Hold. Okay, no, that's third stage stress. Now, it didn't show up before, so it's been since we've been putting in the past abuse and trauma that the base chakra has shown up. Oh, okay. It's not a survival pattern thing. Survival deep hidden. Okay, so where do we need to go? So the same tuning fork combo as before, a different one? Different one. Okay. So what's the first coordinate? Lung. Okay. So lung is, so we had a lot of large intestine energy before. Lung is the yin that's connected to the yang of large intestine. So they're both about grief, guilt, regret. Hold back for me. And when we've been in trauma or abuse, quite often we're only breathing in that upper third of the lungs, which is another reason why things like the Wim Hof breathing, learning to breathe again so that we start to belly breathe and get those really nice deep breaths going. because when we are only breathing in that upper third, it deoxygenates the body. So the whole body will be more acidic, it will be more challenged. And acidity is one of the things that long term can eat away that myelin sheath. Second coordinate is the triple heater, which is grandmother energy of lung. So when the triple heater meridian, which is your immune system, thyroid, adrenals, when it's jammed, then it can impact on your lung energy. So the two are very, very connected. Okay, so once again, is this current? Is this in the past? So once again, this is the effects of old traumas and abuse, and it's feeling trapped and claustrophobic. The flower essence is slender rice flower. It's an Australian bush flower essence, and quite often when we're in that space being traumatized and abused, part of us is so jealous of the outside world around us that we can't get out there, that there's no way out. So it tends to feed, comparison with other people. It feeds jealousy. It feeds narrow-mindedness in that moment we can't see a way out because we're being abused, because our cellular energy has us trapped and claustrophobic in there. We couldn't fight our way out of a wet paper bag at that point because we've been diminished to such a point that the self-worth, the self-esteem, that, the toxic shame is keeping us in that place. Because how do we walk out there to the world when we're so damaged? Okay, no, but your body's actually ready to dissolve it, so that's awesome. And funnily enough, it's only comparison with yourself and others. The others aren't showing up. Okay, what do we need to do? This meridian, this meridian, this meridian. And that meridian. So we need to do the base chakra, we need to do the lung meridian. Something else. Oh, and the 8th chakra on the bottom of the feet as well. So that's the one grounding us into the earth. Actually, yeah.
Before you said that, I just felt something in my feet.
Yeah, right. So they're the ones, that's the reason. I'm not sure what it's like in Ireland at the moment, but it's getting colder. So getting out onto the grass in bare feet at the moment, not my fave. But anyway, so actually let's make sure your feet are talking to your brain. Ooh, it's trying. Okay. We'll check the flexor hallucis longus again. Okay, well that's doing better than before. Okay, so I'll start down here. I take responsibility for my attitudes and now choose to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively dissolve my comparing myself with others into all-encompassing love. I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively cooperate with others and acknowledge true humility as the willingness to see only the highest and best in others. I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively cooperate with others and acknowledge true humility as the willingness to only see the highest and best in others. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, I just had a epiphany as we were going through that. when there's been old trauma and abuse, the person who's the abuser, they're the last person on the world we want to feel gratitude for. They're the last person in the world that we want to feel forgiveness for. But when it starts impacting back to ourselves, where our cells are creating pain and inflammation in our body because of a lack of forgiveness or a lack of gratitude, you could even give it up to the angels, give it up to whatever your belief is. Could give it up to the universe, give it up to Mother Nature, give it up to Father, Son, give it up to God, give it up to Jesus, give it up to Buddha, whatever. But if you start giving it up to your higher power to allow forgiveness and gratitude because of where you are now, because if that hadn't happened, you would not be in the headspace you are in now, where you're this amazing human being on the planet. So there's something in there where we need to find that forgiveness and gratitude, not for the abuse itself, but for the result, which is you are an amazing human being. You have strength that you probably never knew you had, and you're going to be passing that on, to your kids. Can you feel into that energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
It's dissolved.
Beautiful. And a counselor once said to me that when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." He didn't say, "I forgive them." He gave it up to his higher power. So sometimes we don't have it in us, but we do have a huge amount of support out there, with our with the energies that are trying to support us here on this planet.
I think Katie's just giving it to you.
Okay. Okay, good. So let's go back. Oh, actually, hold. Oh, interesting. So by doing the 8th chakra, that actually corrected the foot proprioceptors on the bottom of the feet. Because that was unlocking before, now it's not unlocking. Adrenals, survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival, awesome. I communicate with love. Hold. I communicate with love, ease, and grace. Hold. I choose to communicate with love, ease, and grace. Awesome. Beautiful, Caity. Okay, well, I better get you back to you. No, but first, this is a new program for this body now and in the future. The old program for this body is no longer necessary now in the future. Hallelujah and amen. Okay, is there anything else we need to do to support Caity's transition? No. Okay, good. So you can be yourself again now. I am now 100% Energy.
I am now 100% Energy. But thank you. That was a pleasure.
Hold. And hold. Awesome. Beautiful. Thanks, Caity. Hopefully this will go up on the first try and you'll be able to watch it when you wake up. Bye.